And then on August 6th, we have Green Phantom. The 7th, Crystal Rose. The 13th, Leon Saver. 14th, Reese Ramon. 20th, we have Drea Mitchell. 21st, we have Alex Mays. On the 27th, we have Andrew Cass. And on the 28th, we have Johnny Pierce. So, August already filled up. Some incredible interviews that you're definitely not going to want to miss. Right, I think we're done putting ourselves over. And it is a great day for wrestling because we are wrestling with the news. And it was a couple, maybe 2 days ago at this point. Drew McIntyre took a picture with CM Punk Blood Feud character Jack Perry. He later on deleted the picture, but it was way too late for that. The picture is already all over the internet. I find it interesting. I find it ironic. I find there's so many strains and spectrums when it comes to that picture being taken. But what are your thoughts on it, Kaliko?
I mean,
Oh, Kaliko? Can you hear? If you can hear me, I cannot hear you.
oh no, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
There we go.
There you go.
Now, where was I before I was? Oh yeah, his troll level's 9,000. Guy, like at that point, it's. I will say this: don't get. If anything in this, it shows me don't be on the bad side of Drew McIntyre on Twitter because he is ruthless. But I mean, it kind of works because it's it's one of those things where it's like this storyline is really, really different in the way how you perceive because most
Oh, Kaliko, you went out. Kaliko, you went out.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, there we go. Most of these stories, it's almost like it's kind of a given, like it's a good guy.
Oh, you went out again.
Oh wow.
Oh no, I
Oh,
now I can
okay.
hear you. I don't
Okay, so
I don't
there.
know if it's your Wi-Fi, but you seem like you have a strong connection.
Okay, but we'll keep it here. Uh, this is one of those weird things where it's like there's a good guy, there's a bad guy. Usually, most stories is a good guy and a bad guy, and it's like this one is not really that defined, right? It This is the first storyline where you get it. Like it just depends on whose perspective do you see, right?
Right.
Do you see Drew McIntyre's perspective of purposely getting rid of someone who was kind of in his way, and every chance he's had to win a title, Punk has screwed him? Or do you take the person who decided the person who came back and was getting ready to win the Royal Rumble and he got injured, therefore killing his momentum into WrestleMania? I will say this: I think out of all the matches that I'm looking forward to, this one is top notch, number one, because this has been the first storyline where the first match hasn't taken place for some 6 odd months,
Right.
which is banana, which is bananas. And then throwing Seth Rollins in there, it's another dovetail of the sense of in the sense of how Punk and Seth already had beef. But back to the picture, it just added the layer to it of the blurring of real and what's not real. And in this case, I mean, they're doing a hell of a job. Even if the fact that he just posted it and just pulled it out, that in itself did more damage than just leaving it up there.
you know, on the WWE side of things, from Drew McIntyre's perspective, that was a great fucking move. In all honesty, it's his, like you said, his troll behavior is over 9,000 at this point. Um,
Oh yeah.
it's and it shows you how big of a heel he's been to get to Punk that he would do something like that. And I'm sure CM Punk is also enjoying that this rivalry that they're having because it is kind of unlike anything we've seen before. It's like you said, it's not necessarily good guy bad guy. It's two people's perspectives colliding. So I'm sure CM Punk had a good laugh about that as well. Good opportunity to get some heat, get that rivalry. If you know, you know. But on AEW side of things, first and foremost, why the hell would Jack Perry take a picture with Drew McIntyre to further the rivalry with CM Punk? That kind of confuses me a bit. Am I completely wrong about that?
Well, the issue with it is you don't know when that picture was taken.
I mean, it looked
And
pretty recent.
I mean, define recent. Recent as of yesterday, recent as of Philadelphia, recent as of, you see what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, they're all peers and they're all rooting for each other at some point. So you can't really say, oh, he took that picture yesterday when in essence they're in Osaka right now. So there's no way he could have gotten that photo. I mean, there is a shot, but the the odds of him trying to get that picture within 48 hours before heading to Japan is slim to none, especially considering where they were on Wednesday. So that's to me that could have been a April Philadelphia pick. That could have been a Royal Rumble esque pick. You know what I'm saying? So it's just you know it's it digs in a little deeper, but at the end of the day, we can't unless he timestamps it. And he's not going to come out and say, "Oh, I took that picture months ago," because the point of it is for it to dig.
Right. But, again, it did, when I say recent, I mean, it does look like it was taken maybe within the last 6 months. Definitely
Oh
while
yeah.
CM
Oh
Punk
yeah.
was in WWE. And like you just mentioned a couple of minutes ago, they've been feuding for over 6 months, Drew McIntyre and Punk. So, I mean, unless Jack Perry doesn't watch WWE or doesn't know what's going on, this guy is in a rivalry with a guy that you're synonymous now. You're infamous for, costing him his job.
Yeah. He's infamous. Yeah.
Infamous.
But
So why would you even risk risk that getting out? I mean, yeah, if he told them please don't post that, then yeah, 100%. But it it
I,
does seem like he was maybe not thinking.
no, I think I don't. Here's my thought process. You're thinking too deep, and I think Jack Perry just caught a stray. He just happened to be in the crosshairs. I I don't think Jack Perry is taking a photo with a fellow colleague, thinking of that, thinking that part far apart, right? In let's say it was within that time frame. Who's to say it's not the day before Punk came back? Who's to say? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Who's to say? You see what I'm saying? So that's where I think we're kind of digging too deep in it. And to me, this kind of plays into the pattern of Drew McIntyre of the last 5 months, where he would post something super kind of controversial and delete it. So to me, I'm looking at it in his pattern versus this outlier, right?
Right.
Like the infamous I get paid for 30 minutes or something. He's bored with 30 minutes, and then later on he deletes it after he goes fuck. You know what I'm saying? So to me, I'm looking at it in the pattern of how he's been towards this, and it kind of follows within that frame.
Right. I'm not saying 100% Drew McIntyre on his side of things. Great call, great thing to post. Definitely, um, adds to the hatred. I'm kind of just looking at the AEW side of things because it's
Oh,
like,
AEW ain't got this got nothing to do with them because here's the thing: once they release the tape, kind of there's nothing. You know what I'm saying?
I
Like
mean,
you can't really say, well look at it
I
from
mean,
their standpoint because the tape will be out.
it kind of, you can't say that they have a side of things because they're the reason this whole rivalry is taking place. If they knew how to do proper business, we wouldn't have gotten Punk and McIntyre. We would have arguably gotten Punk and Perry or Punk and the Bucks. Never happened though.
Well, well, I
It's
don't really care about what ifs. I'm just glad that this probably has been the hottest
right.
rival storyline this year, and they haven't even touched yet. And it's only going to get crazier because now Rollins is in the play. So to me, this is probably the best non-faction story that WWE has.
It yes, 100% on WWE's part, fantastic business, but it also shows how bad of business AEW does things at the same time.
It just goes to show, well, it's just a matter of capitalizing off of it. I don't think it's more of the bad business. I think it's just more of WWE is just using it to further it, and they've always been done that. Remember, Matt Hardy and Edge over Lita,
Right,
Charlotte and Paige over Alberto Del Rio. It's always been that blurred line. So to me, this is par for the course, and I'm pretty sure Punk is okay with it because he has no hard feelings whatsoever.
right,
I think Drew just did it as the super antagonizer, and it's kind of like one of those things where he knows that Punk is more likely to hit him, therefore it's going to call the match off. See, that's where you're kind of seeing because we're looking at this one incident, but you got to look at it as the overarching story because of the fact that that's something Punk is willing to fight for. You know what I'm saying?
right.
So therefore, he's antagonizing Punk even more so. So where Punk wants to hit him, but he knows if he hits him and they get into a fight, the match is off. See what I'm saying? So that to me is what I'm looking at. I'm looking at it. It's a big planet. It's like Saturn, but we're looking at Saturn when the universe is like literally like in the overarching scape of the universe. It's like one big chunk, but it's not the chunk, right?
Right. Alright. On other news, and keep in mind, I didn't even see this on any dirt sheets, spoiler sheets, anything of that nature. Ronda
Really.
Rousey started a Kickstarter to publish a graphic novel, a comic book. Uh, it's a story about a bounty hunter that's also pregnant.
Mm.
Um, I was just, and just for context, I was literally just on YouTube listening to wrestling content, wrestling podcasts, and
Really?
one
Were
of
you?
the commercials that came up was, hey, I'm Ronda Rousey, superstar, megastar, yada yada, and I made a graphic novel, and it is going to be on Kickstarter. I don't know why I started going into different accents, but I'm sure this is the first time you've heard of it. What is your reaction to Ronda Rousey making her own graphic novel?
I mean, just something to do, right? I mean, that's all they can do. It's always something to do. So, I mean, that's all they can do. Awesome.
Hmm. I mean, it's an interesting arena to go into after everything that she's done. I guess if it's something that she's passionate about, then maybe it will work. Doesn't necessarily seem like the best of concepts. But personally, it kind of seems like a cash grab. But
I mean, it's not. I mean, they all got something to do, right? Like when Punk was out with WWE, he did the Drax comic books. So, I mean,
yeah, but
it's
I
just,
mean, that was a comic book for Marvel. You know, one of the biggest established, you know, places for comic books. This is just an independent venture. Like, I don't think she approached anybody and nobody approached her. It was just something she just kind of did. You know what I mean?
I mean, she's using her own money for it. What's the point? No biggie, right?
But she's not. It's a Kickstarter, so she's using your money for this venture.
I mean, as long as it ain't my money, I'm good.
Fair enough. All right. Um. Now, another interesting bit of news. It is reported or rumor and innuendoed that Bobby Lashley and MVP, their contracts are coming up with WWE, and they're looking to maybe not resign. I kind of understand it, but I can kind of also not understand it in the same breath. Uh, I'd like your perspective first.
Her business 3.0. That's basically what they're going for.
Don't you think it's putting all your eggs in one basket for something that maybe lasted 6 months at the least? 4 years
Well,
ago is maybe not the wisest decision.
but at that time, that was probably his highest arc in WWE.
Um, I mean, when he came out of it, it was him and
That's the
MVP.
To me, that's the point. But then again, also in WWE, what else he had to prove? He already won the he already. I think he achieved his ultimate goal in winning the WWE title.
I mean, yeah, but and you know, he was for a hot minute. He was doing great things with WWE, but it just feels like after the Bray Wyatt debacle, right before WrestleMania 29, he never really came out of that. He never really did anything important or significant. You know, that is WWE dropping the ball on him or not, you know,
Correct.
putting momentum behind him. I do feel like making him a face really killed his momentum as well because him just being a badass heel that beat people up, a la Black Lesnar, as we call him, um,
Exactly. Like Lesnar.
you know, that works for him. But, you know, when you're trying to make him something that he's not necessarily not, it doesn't, it wasn't, it was, the 2. Hard Business 2.0 with the Street Profits didn't, failed miserably. And putting him with Karrion Kross didn't help him at all either. I mean, one could, kick in the ass with somebody, of significance would have really worked out for him, but I could understand where there's maybe no more patience when it comes to WWE. You know what I mean?
Well, the question is where the upward trajectory was going to come from. Because if Lashley was to go for a singles title, the problem was Roman already has one on lock. Logan Paul was already had the other one on lock. So he was just kind of stuck in the middle, stuck in that no man's land.
Yeah.
To where even if he beats a Cross, there's really no crossover for him to go for a title.
Well,
I think him and Gunther could have been something, but I mean, even Imperium versus the Prophet. But
we could have heel Bobby Lashley versus Cody Rhodes. That wouldn't have sucked.
it wouldn't have. But the thing is that Black Lesnar, as you call it, I would have expected Black Lesnar to win. God damn it! I'm just telling you off rip. He should. I would have expected him to win. So it's delicate with him, but he's already achieved everything he needed to. With him, he has nothing else to prove. Now the question is what's going to happen with the Profits after all this is a whole nother. That's a whole nother conversation to be had.
Right. But hypothetically, if he doesn't re-sign with WWE, people are speculating that he'd go to AEW. And like you said, Hurt Business 3.0 and AEW. If you reunite the Hurt Business in the woods, does anybody care?
I think if they become instead of being stuck at a company, they just become this running territorial faction. Yes, if they just running through different territories and indies. Yes, if it's AEW, no. And see Undisputed for that example.
Because that's just what Bobby Lashley needed, is to become Trios champion in AEW. Yay! I don't think it. I think that he would be devalued, he would be misused. I don't think Tony Khan would know what to do with a Bobby Lashley. If if it's just for the simple fact that he wants the Hurt Business to reunite the Hurt Business, but have it be less than it was when they formed it, and I'm talking from Bobby Lashley's perspective, then yeah, go to AEW. It's going to be the drizzling shits. But
I mean, they already got too big of a roster, and that's the problem too.
right, right. You're gonna wrestle Brian Cage in the Streets of Agony.
Yeah, pretty much
Yeah,
for the FTW title.
and you'll be under the Learning Tree. I
I
don't.
don't think he. I don't think he's going to go to AEW. I personally think he's just going to take some time off, get some nagging injuries, and see where he goes from there.
I mean, he's been off since like April, May.
Well, that tells you what they think of the Profits. Now, granted, this is where people are having this issue with Triple H and black wrestlers and factions. So, and he needs to answer that for sure.
Hmm. All right. Well, we'll see what happens there. I mean, I don't think Bobby Lashley could go back to TNA because he would just find himself back on he would find himself on NXT, so that doesn't really work out. Um, I mean, obviously GCW would pay him big bucks, but I don't think that that's going to do anything for Bobby Lashley's career.
He could go back to cage fighting.
That is true. He was pretty good at that.
Had a good record.
Yeah. Right. On the opposite end of the spectrum, Bryan Danielson said that his contract comes up August 1st with AEW. Obviously an extension is going to be made because he does have to wrestle Swerve at the end of the month, the end of August. After that, he did say that, he wants to finish out his career and, be a part-timer. You see, if WWE gives him a big money offer, him going back, or is AEW and Tony Khan's dilutedness too much for him to pass up?
Well, you say dilutedness. I think it's his schedule. I think he's going to stay for the schedule. He gets to go in when he wants to, wrestle who he wants to, and fade in pay. And I think that's a perfect role for him, because if they put him in WWE, they're going to want him in a major story for months at a time. By AEW, he in and out, a match here, a match there, because they don't really run stories; they run matches. So they can always do dream matches and then go on about their business. So I think he's staying with AEW part time, just to be like, okay, I want to get with this guy. Oh, he's basically going to be like a boxer where he gets his pick of matches. Oh, I want to fight this guy. Oh, I want to take on this guy.
What are your thoughts if WWE gave him, you only have to work 3 times a year, let's say 4 times a year, Rumble, Mania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series, for X amount of dollars? Do you think that would be enough to bring him back, or do you think
he's not dominant enough?
I mean,
he's not dominant enough. The only way that works is if you're a prop.
Okay. I feel like, if he's only brought in for special events, it wouldn't be necessarily that out of the realm of possibilities. I just think it's because Tony Khan holds him in at very high regard. He thinks the world of him, and he's on the discipline committee. If Tony Khan ever gets hit by a bus, Daniel Bryan runs AEW, which is a crazy thing to say. So I can't imagine he's not getting loads of money for all of those things he's doing behind the scenes for AEW as well. So those are the reasons I think he wouldn't resign with WWE, and he would stay in AEW. And besides, he's never been a fan of, as WWE would call it, sports entertainment. He's a wrestler that wrestles. He's good at the wrestles.
Well, WWE is back to using wrestling, so that's not a thing. I think WWE, he would have to do a storyline that leads into it, unless it's the Rumble. But AEW, he doesn't necessarily need it, because there was no storyline between him and Ospreay. There was no real storyline between him and Okada. You see what I'm saying? So he can actually mix and match with other people without a backstory, which is basically for the pure sport of it.
He's never been one for the stories.
I mean, he's for the stories in the ring. He's just not for the stories out the ring.
Right. I mean, not one for the cutting the promos and
the skits and shit. Yeah, right. He's not the skits and shit guy.
The skits and shit. Speaking of skits and shit, MJF, we no longer have, was it the no, it wasn't the Intercontinental Champion. It wasn't the Continental Breakfast. The Outer Continental, the title that Will Ospreay had. Um,
AEW International Champion.
International Championship. Yes, thank you. He has rebranded it the United States Championship. Um, all with a United States flag strap. Not the worst looking belt, but I just don't see the point of it. If I'm being honest, why would you just rename one of your belts something new just for the hell of it? It doesn't necessarily seem like any heat you would get any heat for that, especially since you changed it to the United States, and you know we're in the United States, so you're not going to get booze for that. You know what I mean?
Personally, I think that's an out for when they wrestle in the UK. He's going to be like, well, it's the U.S. title. It's not the international, so it doesn't count. I think he could pull. If there was ever a person to pull some bullshit like that, it'd be him.
Very true.
And I'm not even mad at it. that's, he would pull that.
What did you think about what did you think about the belt design?
And I mean, could have been better. I mean, it screams America, but I mean, I just think they presented it like, yeah.
What are your thoughts on them bringing back the um the international championship and still keeping the United States championship? So you have one new extra belt in your promotion.
Wow, AEW and more belts. How many more we need?
Um,
Seems like half that roster walks out with a title.
and nobody knows what title it is.
Exactly. You walking out with some AAA Lucario shit, and you like, what the fuck is this?
Um, Keeping on AEW news, last Wednesday was the Blood and Guts match between Team AEW versus the Elite. Um, I don't, I haven't partaken in AEW content for quite some time. But Blood and Guts, the name, it's in the name. It was gonna be violent, unnecessary violence. One thing that stuck out to a lot of people was that Jack Perry took an unprotected chair shot to the head. If this was ECW in the 90s, you could plead ignorance. We didn't know what we know now. But considering, everything with concussions and WWE literally having a ban on, you know, people taking chair shots to the head, um, it does seem irresponsible on their part, and it was addressed all over the internet that it wasn't the smartest thing they could have done. Your thoughts on it, Kaliko?
It's just wondering who is producing these matches and giving them the go ahead. I mean, the question is, we won't know for sure if that was just an accident or pure negligence, right? So everyone's just operating on the fact of pure negligence.
Oh no, it was intentional. Matt Jackson addressed it and said that they wouldn't have done it if he wasn't prepared for to do it. So it was something that was planned in the match.
Well, I mean, if that was planned and he was willing to take it, who are we to tell him he can't take it?
I mean, somebody that, I don't like the guy, but I don't want him to be brain dead.
That is. Damn, you don't like Jack Perry either? Like, damn, you just got hate with everybody.
Who did I say I didn't like?
I mean, practically the whole AEW roster.
Well, you're not wrong.
Tony Khan, everybody else, but I'm just saying. My thought process, he was willing to take it. He took it. Lesson learned, moved on, but I mean, it's his right. If he felt comfortable taking it, he'll take it. Or maybe the Bucks coerced him, like they did with the Punk shit.
I don't know. It just seems like, you're saying, oh yeah, I'll take a chair shot to the head, but, you're going to feel that in a couple years. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but you're going to feel it. And, anybody from ECW, anybody that's taken unprotected headshots will tell you that it's not the smartest thing to do. Especially somebody that took several, and I'm referring to Mick Foley. Um, Royal Rumble '99.
Yeah, he took a gang of them hoes. I mean, The Rock took some, Austin took some, Taker took some, Triple H took some, Jeff Hardy took a man up.
Yeah, like I said, it was a different time, so and you didn't know what you had back then, but
Oh, you knew. You knew. Just didn't care.
I feel like some of what you would WWE has protections against that, and AEW wants to say they care about their wrestlers, they protect their wrestlers, but then they do shit like that. Really makes me question if they do have their wrestlers' best interest at hand, or if they're just going for those moments.
So you're saying they're spot monkeys. Oh gosh, I feel like I'm using a mark term. Oh, I feel so dirty using it.
Not even a spot monkey. Just taking. You're just doing it for the sake of doing it. You're hurting your talent. You're going for the gift rather than to protect your person, your people.
I mean, I get your point. I'm not even knocking it. I'm just telling you that
Yeah.
if he was okay with it, it people are offending for someone who said that they're okay taking it.
I mean,
And that's why I'm like, if he came out and said, you know what, the Jacksons made me take this shit, and I didn't want to do it, and they talked me into it anyway, got it. Got it. But if it would, but by the fact that it was just eh,
well,
you know.
I get what you mean, but considering how many injuries AEW goes through, in a month or in a year, another reason why you shouldn't necessarily chance it. I mean, Sky Blue broke her ankle last week on Collision. Um, Dalton Castle will be out for the foreseeable future. Um, Jay White got injured.
Oh yeah,
Um,
everybody got injured.
yeah,
Shit, don't even give me.
they lost the Bang Bangers. They dropped the titles to a Christian and his orphans.
Patriarchy.
Um, and Kill Switch is already injured. He got injured during that match. So the people that, because there was an injury on your guy, that you had to get it off it, the people that you put it on also got injured. Yeah, Think about that for a second.
I mean, let's see, Adam Cole, Adam Copeland, Bandito, The Blade, Cole Carter, Don Castle, Danhausen, Jalistico, Eddie Kingston, Jamie Hayter, Jay White, JD Drake, Julia Hart, Keith Lee, Kenny Omega, Kota Ibushi, Mark Davis, Matt Saito, Miro, Ortiz, Penelope Ford, Powerhouse, Toss Rio, Ruby Soho, Sammy Guevara, Samoa Joe, Scorpio Sky, Tay Mello, Trent Barretto, Wardlow, all are on the injury list. Damn, that is like a fucking NFL team. That's all. That's a whole nother promotion on that list. Shit.
And I wouldn't even put Adam Cole on that list considering how the reason he got injured was so incredibly stupid. He literally just jumped down from the runway, the catwalk, and exploded his ankle. Yeah, and he still hasn't wrestled since. Fucking insane.
Hey man, sensitive bones.
But, we're talking about, negative things about AEW, the
All
blood...
the time. That's what I say.
Well, I'm trying to transition. The blood and guts match, that could have been some positivity. Everybody's looking at the negativity of that chair shot. And it definitely 100% overshadows something else that happened on that show, and that is that Kamille is now Mercedes Monet's bodyguard? Question mark. She helped her beat up Britt Baker. I would have thought a WWE run would have been better for her, considering all the great things WWE is doing, but for whatever reason she's in AEW, and the first thing they do with her is make her the bodyguard for Mercedes Monet.
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 Oh, whatever.
Yep. We got Monet and chamomile tea.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, people thought she was going to come and be a champion, but I think that was before Miss Mercedes entered the ring of AEW.
I just feel like it's going backwards. She started as Nick Aldis's bodyguard, and that really worked when she didn't talk. But I feel like she's come along and far away from that, kind of becoming a new person. And just going back to that, I feel like you're going backwards rather than forward.
Well, I mean, people know who she is. They know how she talks. I mean, it's just a matter of introducing her to the audience. But then again, that's what they do with all the girls. Haven't you noticed? Chick comes in, be the bodyguard, then takes over. Mariah May, Tony Storm, Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter. I mean,
Yeah.
They come in, they click up, and then they break up. It's the, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. And you are actually pretty right about that. So, I guess it's
Oh, was that Paige? Paige came in, and then she ended up with a bodyguard. Like, shit. Like, got two of them hoes off rip. Like, I'm just saying.
I guess it's just a matter of waiting and seeing.
Yes, it is.
Now, going to a AEW signee to a WWE signee. We talked about Julia and Stephanie Vaquer the last couple of weeks. They also signed independent pro wrestler from Australia, Delta. For anybody that doesn't know who she is, Delta is from this Adelaide, Australia. She's wrestled somebody we know, Savannah Summers. Same promotion that they got Rhea Ripley from. She looks incredible. She's been wrestling for maybe 4 years at this point. I think if she adapts well to WWE, we could maybe get a new major Australian star and maybe somebody to replace Rhea Ripley down the line. Um, your thoughts, Kaliko?
Low key, they didn't stack down there with the wrestlers, but before I get to Delta, let me get with Miss Thakor. Can you have a better 3 weeks than that girl had? She came in to drop the title, then get signed to WWE right after you drop the title. That had to be like, oh, she good. Then gets the endorsement from Damian Priest. So shit, she's riding on cloud 30 right now. Well deserved. Delta is going to be interesting. They're all going into NXT, and it's giving a boost to that roster. Especially a boost to the women's roster of veterans, because they have a lot of promising talent, and they do need to mix it with people who can be a general in the ring and kind of mentor them in the back, right?
Right.
You could hypothetically say Roxanne Perez is one, but technically she's barely old enough to drink at this point. So,
right.
So it's just they need some of that veteran presence that can actually help them in the ring when the mentors can't help them, right?
Right.
So I think it's good additions on that front, and it's going to give Roxanne Perez and Kalani Jordan something to do, because they're gonna be in the search for challengers. So yeah, it's a good addition, and you can't go wrong with it.
Okay. And that will conclude our coverage of the news. And now a quick word from our sponsors.
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show, support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.